I have a client who is inquiring about GBS, or group beta strep. This is her second pregnancy. She tested positive with her first pregnancy, and she delivered in a hospital with an OB. She felt that she's nervous about this coming pregnancy and testing positive because at her last pregnancy she had to have IV antibiotics, which she felt constricted her in like her movement during labor. So she really wants to, she doesn't want to have antibiotics this time. But she also wants to learn more about GBS because she said she didn't question it with her first. So today we are just talking about options um, and what the research says. So I would start by explaining what GBS is. Group beta streptococcus is a normal. It's part of our normal vaginal flora. Um, it's present in one in 3 women, pregnant women, and it comes and goes as vaginal flora tends to do. To us, it is completely harmless, but it is the it's the number 1 leading cause of neonatal sepsis, which is sepsis of the newborn. And it sorry. And neonatal sepsis is among the top 10 causes of neonatal death. So it's pretty serious, can cause respiratory distress, requiring supplemental oxygen, NICU, neonatal intensive care unit stays, and that if the newborn were to be infected, they would require 2 weeks of antibiotic treatment. It can cause meningitis, pneumonia, and all. This is all very rare. It's rare that the infant would become infected and infected if colonized. The risk is 0.3 out of 1,000 live births. So it is quite rare, but when it does happen, it's an emergent need, and that is why the CDC recommends that pregnant people who test positive for GBS between 35 and 37 weeks do get intrapartum antibiotic prophylaxis. But there are also risks to the intrapartum prophylactic treatment. For one, if you are allergic to the antibiotics given, which the main one is penicillin. If you have penicillin allergies, you want to let your doctor provider know, because anaphylaxis from antibiotics can be fatal. It can also cause like maternal fever, which is also a risk to your baby as well. And then it also can cause disruption and like cause the normal the infant's gut microbiome to be limited in the amount of healthy bacteria it contains. So those are risks to think about with the prophylactic treatment. But that being said, the CDC still does enough evidence does show that it is effective in eliminating the group beta strep from reducing the risk of colonization of the newborn. So although it is rare, studies have shown that it is effective. But the other options include taking probiotics. That's a big one. Taking oral probiotics containing lactobacilli daily has been shown to maintain the normal, sorry, I'm so congested, the normal vaginal flora, which can actually prohibit growth and adhesion of other potentially harmful bacteria to the newborn, such as group beta strep. Um, Studies that have examined this have been smaller, but there is evidence showing that taking those probiotics as early as as soon as third trimester starts can actually reduce the risk of colonization. Um, and also, instead of having the IV that you're tethered to throughout your labor and birth, you midwives often do what's called a loading dose of cefazolin, and you get that loading dose once when your labor kind of starts, the midwife arrives, and then every 4 hours after that. So there is that option as well if you don't want to be tethered to an IV.